Hi, and welcome to seventh grade language arts. My name is Julie Samuels, and I teach seventh grade language arts and sixth grade creative writing in room 214 in the Classic Building. And this presentation is all about seventh grade language arts. Just a little bit about me. I'm from New York. I just moved to Washington. But in New York, I taught in the New York City public school system for about 4 years. And currently, I live in Renton with my cat, Ella. I know that her name spells out English language arts, and it was not intentional. I got my bachelor's degree from Lafayette College in English literature, and I went to Columbia University Teachers College for my master's degree in English education. I love to travel, I love to dance and sing, and I love to run. And I'm a very big sports fan. I will often talk sports with all of the students in my classroom, but they're all kind of New York sports teams, not Washington sports teams. I'm sorry about that. But just to kind of go over some classroom procedures, obviously, we have the no phone rule, we have the yonder bags in place. So students come to school. The expectation is that they put their phone and Bluetooth headphones and smartwatches in the yonder bag. The yonder bag gets locked and they do not touch it until the end of school. So we do not have students on phones during the day. If a student wants to use headphones for their iPad, we ask that they plug in only because we aren't allowing Bluetooth headphones. So if your child has headphones that plug in, they are more than welcome to use it if they ever need to access something to listen to. Speaking of iPads, iPads are only used for class activities. So I will always let students know, hey, we are using the iPad, or if a student prefers to use a digital notebook, they need to come talk to me first. But if a student is using the iPad, we asked that please make sure it is charged before school. While we do have loaner chargers, we don't have a lot. So having a child ask to get a loaner charger, they are missing valuable class time. So if the iPad is charged, all they have to do is take it out and they are good to go for the period. We are encouraging all students to have an independent reading book this year, whether it be a physical book or one from Libby, which is the electronic app connected to the public library. Students are able to access both audio and ebooks. So, no matter which form they choose to have, we are encouraging students to always have a book on them. In my classroom, I do have a no food policy. Unless your child comes to talk to me, then I will absolutely give them permission. Water, juice, all of that is totally fine. All I ask is that if there is a spill by accident, we just get it cleaned up. We are going to have a late and redo work policy. I will talk about that a bit later, but so far, it's important that your child understands if there is a due date that they turn in the work by that due date. But I will talk about those policies in a bit. There are two types of assignments that we are going to be seeing throughout the year. We have practice or formative assignments, and we have summative assignments. So, the practice assignments are the little assignments that students will do in class or they might get assigned for homework, but that is to show how they are mastering the work before they have a big assignment. So, oftentimes it will be something that I can look at and give them timely feedback that they can easily work on before they have that larger assignment. They will receive a grade in the grade book. Sometimes they might not, but it's important that they use that practice work to work on their skills. So when they do get that summative assignment, they have the knowledge and the tools necessary to fully succeed. All summative assignments go into the gradebook and there will be feedback provided. And if a student chooses to redo that, which we will talk about later, we do have a policy in place. We are going to be doing an independent reading log for each trimester. I will be talking about that more in the coming weeks, but we are looking for students to work on increasing their reading. So we want students to be reading different genres. We want them to just be spending more time reading overall. So once the reading logs are finalized, we will be sending those out. Focusing more on each trimester. So right now we are in trimester one. Right now we are focusing on chunk paragraphs, which are short responses. We will also be focusing on essays and comparisons later on in the trimester. We are working on currently short stories where students will read a couple of pages and then they will work together to decode what's going on in the stories. But in the coming weeks, we will be reading our first novel, which is The Outsiders. We will also be looking at little plays and dramas, and obviously, we have our independent reading. So, students are going to be reading quite a bit this year. Trimester two, we have a little bit of a switch. We have a switch in writing and in reading. So, the writing focus for second trimester is going to be persuasive writing. So, students will be focusing more on creating arguments and claims, and they will also be performing a lot of research. When they are reading, they are going to be focusing more on nonfiction rather than fiction. We will have a little bit of historical fiction available, but mainly we'll be looking at informational texts in this unit. Our last unit, we take another switch back, but we focus more on creative writing, personal narratives, and also a little bit of poetry. We are also looking at mystery genres. So, students will be able to look at the different genres in fiction. And we will also be looking at a book called They Called Us Enemy. So, we have a lot in store for this year. Kind of circling back to the late and redo work policy. So, our late work policy is that if you want to redo something, if you turn in something late, that is okay. You will still receive the grade. Formative work can be submitted late. That is your practice work. Summative assignments will or can also be turned in late, but we really do want you to turn that in on time because I can give you timely feedback and it would be more efficient for you. But with redo work, if your child is not happy with something they received, whether it is on formative or a summative assignment, they are of course allowed to redo it for a higher grade. But the only rule that we have is that if your child wants to redo the summative assignment or the rather bigger assignment, they need to make sure that all of their practice or formative assignments are turned in first. So that is the one rule that we are working with. Just some ways that you can actually help out. So always check Schoology if there's any assignments. I do post updates on Schoology whenever we do have homework. I always post these slides from the day and the work that we do in class. That way students have access to it. Definitely encourage your child to communicate with me. I told students in the beginning of the year, if they ever have any questions, they can message me, or if they want to come talk to me in person, either is fine. But if your child has a question or concern, please encourage them to come talk to me and we can absolutely work stuff out. Always know I am on your child's team. I want them to succeed. I want them to come to class every day, ready to learn, ready to go. And it's all about learning together. And I really do hope that I am encouraging your child to want to learn more in language arts. Definitely encourage them to read at home. While students do love to read in class, and we absolutely love that, we do want them to read at home too. And if there's anything that I need to know, you can always email me at julie.samuels@mercerislandschools.org. That is a great way to reach me, and I will try to get back to you as soon as I can. But that is it for seventh grade language arts. And thank you all so much for sharing your children with me.